My name is Lauren Bishop. I'm 40 years old, and I used to think I had the kind of life people envy quietly, without admitting it out loud. Not rich, not glamorous, but stable. A clean apartment downtown, a job that paid on time, a routine that made my nervous system feel safe, and a relationship I believed had matured into something real, something built, not just felt. Ryan Hollis and I had been together for 3 years. We weren't married, but we lived together in a bright two-bedroom on the 7th floor, the kind with too much glass, and a view of other people's windows. We split bills evenly. We had a shared savings account for the future, that vague, shiny place couples like to point to when they don't want to talk about the scary parts. I genuinely believed we were solid. Last Tuesday evening, I came home from the gym around 7 p.m. The hallway smelled faintly like someone's dinner, garlic and onions, and I remember thinking, stupidly, that I should have bought more protein bars. When I opened our door, the apartment felt wrong. Not messy, not broken into, not loud, just cold. The heater was running, but the air felt thin, like a room where something terrible had already happened and the walls were still holding their breath. Ryan was sitting on the couch with his phone in his lap, staring at the blank TV screen like it had offended him. No show playing, no music, not even the normal background hum of life. I dropped my gym bag by the door, the way I always did. The thud sounded louder than it should have. "Hey," I said carefully, trying to keep my voice light. "You okay?" He didn't look at me. For a few seconds, I waited for him to blink, to laugh, to say he'd had a weird day. Anything that would let me pretend my stomach wasn't tightening for a reason. Then he finally exhaled. "We need to talk." Those 4 words are never neutral. They don't mean conversation. They mean verdict. I sat in the armchair across from him, the one we'd bought on sale because he said it looked grown up. My pulse was loud in my ears. He rubbed his palms against his jeans like he couldn't get something off his skin. "Lauren," he said, and the way he said my name, slow, cautious, made my mouth go dry. I got a call today." A pause. "My ex." I blinked. Not because I didn't understand. Because I didn't like how easily that word landed in our living room, like it belonged there. "Okay," I managed. His eyes stayed on his hands. "Haley's pregnant." For about 3 seconds, my brain did this strange thing where it tried to protect me by rearranging meaning. Haley, pregnant, ex. I thought, that's her problem. Then, why is he telling me? And then he added the part that cracked the floor beneath everything. "And the baby is mine." The room went so quiet I could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen, that steady mechanical sound like the world refusing to stop. Somewhere outside, a car alarm chirped once and died. I stared at him. My thoughts moved like they were pushing through mud. "What?" I said, because it was the only word my mouth could find. He finally looked up then, and I'll never forget his expression. Not guilty, not devastated, just tired. Like this was an inconvenience that had happened to him. "It happened 2 months ago," he said quickly. "It wasn't planned. It just happened." 2 months ago. My mind flashed backward without permission. Him coming home late, smelling like cologne he didn't wear. Him insisting I was overthinking. Him flipping his phone face down like it was a reflex. I swallowed. My throat felt tight, not with tears, with pressure. "Haley," I repeated, slower now, as if saying her name carefully would keep me from screaming. "Haley Whitman?" He nodded once. Haley wasn't just a random ex. She was the ex, the one from college, the one he'd described as dramatic, needy, a chapter he'd outgrown. The one he promised me was ancient history, right before he added her back on social media last year. "She reached out," Ryan had said back then. "She just wanted to catch up. It doesn't mean anything." I'd believed him because I wanted to believe him. Because trust is easier than vigilance, and I was tired of feeling like the suspicious woman in my own relationship. Now he sat there, telling me her pregnancy, like it was a weather update. My hands were strangely still in my lap. My body felt numb, as if it had decided to abandon sensation before it could be hurt. "So you slept with her," I said. "Yes," he whispered. "And she's pregnant?" "Yes. And you're telling me because—" My voice sounded calm, which scared me more than if it had shaken. He leaned forward, desperation flickering at the edges of his face. "Because I don't want this to explode," he said. "Haley's married now, Lauren. If her husband finds out, it'll destroy everything. She's scared. I'm scared. We need to keep things peaceful." Peaceful. The word hit me like a slap dressed up as a request. He wanted peace the way people want clean sheets after they've set the bed on fire. I stared at him for a long moment. I could picture it instantly, the version of my life he was asking me to accept. Me staying, me swallowing the humiliation, me being the loyal girlfriend while he navigated a baby with another woman, me playing the supportive partner while he begged me not to make it worse. And worst of all, his confidence, his assumption that I would fold because I loved him. I know you're angry, he rushed on, but please, don't do anything crazy. Don't message anyone. Don't. Lauren, please, we can work through this. Work through it. Like this was a budgeting problem. Like this was a leaky faucet. Like betrayal was something you patched with enough patience. Something inside me went very still, not broken. Focused. I felt my mouth curve into something that wasn't a smile. All right, I said, standing up slowly. Whatever you want. His face changed instantly, relief sliding in like warm water. Actually relieved. He exhaled like he'd just survived something, like my compliance was proof he was still safe. Thank you, he whispered. I knew you'd understand. Understand. I walked into our bedroom and closed the door behind me with a soft click. The second the door latched, my hands started shaking. Not from fear, from adrenaline. I sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the neatly made comforter, and felt the weight of 3 years pressed down on my chest like a physical thing. Then I reached for my phone. I didn't cry. Not yet. I opened my notes app and started typing a list. Lease, bank account, screenshots, proof. Haley's full name, husband's name, exit plan. Because I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to break things. I was going to vanish from Ryan's life so completely he'd wake up in silence and realize he'd been talking to a woman who was already gone. That night, I slept on the couch. Ryan tried to come out once, tried to sit beside me and touch my shoulder like intimacy could erase biology. I just need time, I said without looking at him. He went back to bed. I stayed awake until 2 a.m., lit only by the blue glow of my phone screen, scrolling through Haley's social media like it was a crime scene. Haley Whitman, 38, married to a man named Daniel Whitman. They'd been married 6 years, no kids in the photos, just vacations, dinner dates, smiling holiday cards. Daniel looked normal, kind even. The kind of man who didn't deserve to be turned into collateral damage because my boyfriend wanted peace. I sat there in the dark, feeling sick with the sheer unfairness of it. By 8 a.m. Wednesday, I was on the phone with our landlord. Our lease had an early termination clause, 60 days notice, and a penalty fee. I'll pay it, I said. He sounded surprised. Everything all right? Yes, I lied smoothly. I just need my name off the lease. Only mine. Ryan could decide whether he wanted to drown alone in the life he'd contaminated. Next, I went to the bank and opened a new checking account. Then I transferred my half of our shared savings into it. We'd been saving for a trip to Japan, $8,400 total. I took $4,200, my half. Clean, simple, documented. At 10 a.m., I texted myself Ryan's confession from the night before, worded carefully so I'd have a clean record. Then I screenshotted it and saved it in 3 places. People think proof is petty until they need it. And I knew, deep down, that Ryan would rewrite this story the second it benefited him. By noon, I found Haley's address. Public records are embarrassingly easy when you have a full name and a city. I ordered a gift basket online, gourmet chocolates, sparkling cider, a tiny teddy bear that made my stomach twist. Same-day delivery. In the message box, I typed, "Congratulations, you're going to be a dad. Haley's expecting. We should talk. A concerned friend." I sent it. Then I opened Facebook Messenger and forwarded the screenshot to Haley. No commentary, no threats, no rage. Just truth, delivered like a blade. After that, I blocked Ryan's number. I spent the afternoon packing essentials, clothes, laptop, documents, things that mattered, things that couldn't be replaced if someone got vindictive. By 3 p.m., my phone rang from an unknown number. My heart didn't race. It stopped. I answered anyway. A man's voice came through, shaky, angry, scared. "Is this the person who sent the gift basket to 447 Riverside Drive?" My throat tightened. "Yes," I said carefully. There was a breath on the other end, like he was trying not to break apart. "This is Daniel Whitman," he said, "Haley's husband." Then his voice turned sharp, cracking at the edges. "And you need to tell me right now, what the hell is going on?" I took a breath before answering him. A deep one, the kind you take before stepping into cold water. "Daniel," I said, steady, "I'm sorry you're finding out this way. My name is Lauren Bishop. I've been living with Ryan Hollis for 3 years. Last night, he told me your wife is pregnant. He believes the baby is his." Silence. Not the kind where a call drops. the kind where a person is still there, but their entire understanding of the world has just fractured. "You're lying," Daniel finally said, and his voice was thin, stretched tight. "This isn't funny. This is—" "I wish I were," I replied quietly. "I can send you proof. A screenshot of what he told me. I can give you Ryan's number, our address. He said it happened 2 months ago. He said he didn't want you to know because it would destroy everything." I heard his breathing change, fast, shallow, uneven. "I need proof," he said. "I'll send it now." I texted him the screenshot, then Ryan's number, then our address. "I'm sorry," I said again, because I was. "You deserve to know." He didn't respond. The call ended without a goodbye. I stared at my phone for a moment, my reflection faintly visible in the black screen, eyes steady, jaw set. Then I went back to packing. By the time the gift basket arrived at Daniel and Haley's door, I was already gone. Ryan's calls started an hour later. Missed call, voicemail. Then text from a new number. "Lauren, please pick up. You said you'd keep things calm. What did you do?" I didn't respond. I showed up at my friend Maya's apartment just before sunset with 2 suitcases and a box of important documents. She took one look at my face and didn't ask questions, just opened the door wider and hugged me. "You can stay as long as you need," she said. That night, Ryan called 52 times. I didn't listen to the voicemails. I didn't need to hear his voice to know what they contained. Panic wrapped in entitlement, regret sharpened into accusation. Around midnight, Maya knocked gently on the guest room door. "He's texting me now," she said. "Do you want me to block him?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. Wednesday bled into Thursday like a bruise darkening. By morning, the explosion had fully started. Daniel messaged me on Facebook. "He admitted it," he wrote. "He said it was a mistake. He said it was once." I don't believe him. I don't believe anything anymore. I read the message twice, then sat down on the edge of the bed. "I'm filing for divorce," he added a moment later. "I thought you should know, and thank you. I don't know if I should thank you or hate you, but at least now I know." My fingers hovered over the keyboard. "I'm sorry for both of us," I typed. "If you need anything, evidence, testimony, let me know." He destroyed my relationship too. He read it, didn't reply. By noon, Ryan's mother emailed me. The subject line alone made my stomach tighten. How could you do this? The message was exactly what I expected. Rage dressed up as righteousness. "How dare you abandon my son? How could you ruin multiple lives? He made a mistake, and you responded with cruelty." I replied with a single attachment. The screenshot. No explanation, no defense. She never wrote back. That afternoon, Ryan showed up at Maya's building. I didn't know how he found me. Mutual friends, probably. He buzzed the intercom like his life depended on it. "Lauren," his voice crackled through the speaker. "Please, you can't just disappear. We need to talk." Maya looked at me. I shook my head once. "He's not interested in talking to you," she said calmly into the intercom. "Leave or I'm calling the police." He buzzed again, twice. Then silence. At 4:17 p.m., Daniel messaged me again. I confronted her, he wrote. She cried. She denied. Then she admitted everything. It wasn't just once. There were messages, months of them. "I'm done." I stared at the words, nausea rising. So Ryan hadn't just cheated. He'd curated an entire second reality and expected me to be quiet furniture inside it. That evening, my phone rang from a blocked number. I answered. "You're a heartless woman," Ryan said, his voice tight with fury. "You destroyed my life." I laughed, not loudly, not hysterically. "Just once." "You did that yourself," I said. "I just refused to protect you from the consequences." "You promised me," he snapped. "You said you'd keep things peaceful." "No," I corrected him. "I said whatever you want. And what I wanted was the truth out in the open." He swore at me. I hung up. That night, lying in a borrowed bed under unfamiliar sheets, I realized something that surprised me. I didn't miss him. Not the version of him I thought I loved. Not the man who shared my couch and my savings and my future plans. Because that man never actually existed. By Friday morning, the story no longer belonged to me. It had escaped, slipping through text messages, whispered phone calls, half-formed opinions traded over coffee and lunch breaks. I could feel it happening without seeing it, the way you feel a storm coming through changes in pressure. I took a personal day from work. I couldn't sit in an office pretending spreadsheets mattered while my name was being rearranged in other people's mouths. Maya left early for her shift, hugging me before she went. "Whatever happens," she said, "remember, you didn't do anything wrong." I nodded, but I knew better than to believe that clarity would be universal. By 10 a.m., my phone buzzed with a message from Lena, a mutual friend of Ryan's and mine. Hey, I heard some things. Are you okay? I stared at the screen, debating whether to respond. Silence can look like guilt if you let it linger too long. I'm fine, I typed. Just dealing with the fallout. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Ryan says you completely overreacted, she wrote carefully. That it was a complicated situation. Of course he did. I didn't answer. An hour later, Daniel messaged me again. I found hotel receipts, he wrote. Dates going back further than she admitted. Deleted messages he thought were gone. This wasn't an accident, it was a pattern. I closed my eyes. Something inside my chest loosened, not relief exactly, validation. Because part of me had still been wondering if I'd detonated everything over one terrible choice. If maybe, just maybe, I'd been too fast, too sharp, too unforgiving. But no, this wasn't a crack. It was rot. I'm sorry, I wrote back. You deserve better. So did you, he replied. That sentence stayed with me longer than it should have. Friday afternoon, Ryan tried again, this time through email. He wrote paragraphs, long, emotional ones, about fear, about pressure, about how he'd felt trapped and confused, about how Haley had reached out first, about how he'd never meant to hurt me. Not once did he say I chose this. Not once did he say I lied. By evening, his tone shifted. The next message was colder. You didn't have the right. You could have let me handle it. You wanted revenge. I didn't reply. Saturday morning, I toured a studio apartment 20 minutes from my office. It was small, one big window, scuffed floors, a kitchen that barely deserved the name. It felt perfect. I put down a deposit on the spot. At noon, my phone buzzed with another message from Lena. Just so you know, she wrote, Ryan's telling people you're unstable, that you sabotaged him out of spite, that you're controlling. I sat on the edge of the couch, phone heavy in my hand. There it was, the pivot. When guilt doesn't work, rewrite the narrative. Do you believe him? I asked. Her reply came fast. Number 1, I know you. And I've seen the screenshots. I exhaled, slow and steady. Not everyone defected. That night, Daniel called. Not frantic this time, just exhausted. I wanted to tell you, he said. I'm moving forward with the divorce. I'm not angry at you. I'm angry I didn't see it sooner. I'm glad you know now, I said. Even if it hurts. It does, he admitted, but lying hurts more. We hung up without promises, without lingering. 2 people who didn't need anything else from each other. Sunday brought a new, colder dread. Maya came into the kitchen holding her phone like it might bite. Lauren, she said gently, Ryan's story changed again. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? He's telling people Haley didn't cheat, that she was pressured, that she didn't really have a choice. I went very still. That's not what he said to me. I know, Maya said. And that's not what the texts show. People are starting to notice the inconsistencies. I felt sick, because lies don't just spread, they mutate, and I could see where this one was heading. Ryan wasn't just trying to save himself anymore. He was burning the ground behind him. That night, alone in the guest room, I replayed everything from the beginning, the quiet apartment, the word peaceful, the relief on his face when he thought I'd protect him. I understood then. He hadn't been afraid of losing me. He'd been afraid of losing control of the story. And I'd taken that from him the moment I chose truth over comfort. 2 weeks later, I moved into my studio. It was quiet in a way that felt intentional, not empty, not lonely, just mine. No shared mugs, no second toothbrush, no couch that remembered arguments. I slept better than I had in months, maybe years. Silence stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like medicine. Ryan didn't stop trying to reach me. He just stopped doing it directly. I heard about him through other people, mutual friends who spoke carefully, as if my heart were something fragile they might drop if they used the wrong word. First, his version had been simple, a mistake. Then it became pressure, then confusion, and finally, something darker. By the 3rd week, I heard the version where Haley hadn't cheated at all. She was manipulated, someone told me gently. That's what Ryan's saying now. I felt something cold pass through me. Because this wasn't self-defense anymore. It was erasure. A few days later, Daniel messaged me one last time. The baby was born, he wrote, a boy. I stared at the screen longer than I expected to. My family insisted on a DNA test, he continued. It confirmed what we already knew. I closed my eyes. Truth at last. Quiet, undeniable, and devastating. I'm finalizing the divorce, he added. I'm moving closer to my sister. I need a clean start. I'm glad you're getting one, I replied. You deserve it. So do you, he wrote back. That was the last message we ever exchanged. Ryan, on the other hand, spiraled. Haley demanded child support. His parents were furious, not at him, but at the situation, at the inconvenience, at the exposure. He lost friends quietly, one by one, as people compared stories and noticed the holes. He tried to reach me again through a mutual friend. She just wants closure, the friend said carefully. No, I replied, he wants absolution. There's a difference. A month after everything detonated, I ran into Lena at a coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable, like she was bracing for impact. I don't believe him, she said before I could even ask. Any of it. He keeps changing details. It doesn't add up. Lies rarely do, I said. She nodded. People are starting to see it. Good, I thought. Let them. Not for revenge. For accuracy. I painted my walls a warm, muted green. Bought plants that didn't need much attention. Adopted a one-eyed gray tabby from a shelter and named him Oliver because he looked like he'd seen too much and survived anyway. Life got smaller. And better. 3 months after I left, Ryan tried once more. This time through a handwritten letter left with a mutual acquaintance. I didn't open it. There was nothing left to say. I had started seeing someone new. Not serious, not fast, just kind. His name was Evan. He taught high school history. We met in a bookstore, both reaching for the same battered paperback. He laughed easily, listened more than he spoke, never made me feel like I had to earn honesty. When he asked about my past, I told him the truth. Not the drama, just the facts. I'm sorry that happened to you, he said. No advice, no judgment, just acknowledgement. It felt like air. Sometimes, late at night, I think about Ryan and Haley and wonder if they ever talk about how things could have gone differently. Then I remember something important. They didn't end up where they did because I told the truth. They ended up there because they lied. I kept the screenshots, the bank records, the emails. Not because I wanted to punish anyone, but because I learned, too late, that peace built on silence isn't peace at all. It's just postponement. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm free.